She knows how to get her girlfriend.
My own house, my rules, my money.
Welcome back to CineRecapk. On this typical day, little Preston is standing in line among grown-ups at a bank, waiting for his turn with the clerk. Why is an 11-year-old boy at the bank alone, without his parents by his side? A nervous and cautious look on his face gives away his unease. He's then called to a friendly, middle-aged woman's counter and asked what he's here for. He carefully pulls out a check and says he wants to cash it. When the woman sees the name on the check, she's stunned, thinking it's a child's prank. But Preston, with a stern expression, insists it's no joke. The woman promptly escorts the boy to Mr. Biderman's office. Surprisingly, Biderman isn't shocked when he sees the check and quickly dismisses her from the room. Suddenly, he bursts into laughter and shares this astonishing news. In a flash, he burns the check, and in the next moment, he opens a safe, pulls out stacks of cash, and stuffs them into Preston's bag. There, this 11-year-old boy successfully walks away with his first $1 million from the bank. You're wondering how this could happen? No kidding. Preston is a young boy living with his parents and two older brothers in a small town. As the youngest in the house, Preston is constantly pestered by his brothers, Damien and Ralph. This morning, the two older siblings take over his bedroom to store a computer setup for their small business. Fred, the boy's father, supports his elder son's plan and helps move their gear into Preston's room, advising him that, as the youngest, he must learn to make sacrifices since his brothers are already working. Preston is frustrated with how he's treated, but feels powerless to resist. Later, Preston heads to Funland Amusement Park to celebrate his friend Butch's birthday. Unlike his friends, he can only afford the basic rides. Preston's father gave him just $10, and everyone teases him for not having enough money. Watching other kids enjoy themselves, Preston feels a pang of resentment. While Preston's family isn't poor, Fred is quite wealthy. He's very frugal and believes his children must learn the value of hard work and saving money. It's time for his older brothers to head to a baseball game, and Preston wants to go along but lacks the funds for a ticket. Fred lectures him on the importance of saving, saying that if he wants to have fun, saving is the way. A penny saved is a penny earned, but Preston protests he can't save because he doesn't have a job. Seeing this, his mother hands him an envelope, his grandmother's early birthday gift. Upon opening it, Preston finds a blank check, but grumbles that it's useless since no amount is written. Fred then fills it out for $11, which he deems fair for Preston's age. The young boy is of course unhappy with the amount, but his father insists that with proper interest, the money could grow into $1 million. Lacking patience, Preston rushes to his room and runs the numbers on his computer, discovering his $11 would take at least 3,000 years to reach $1 million. Frustrated, he boldly declares he'll never be a millionaire in his lifetime. Despite this, he lists his dreams, to clear his brother's stuff from his room and own his own home. Meanwhile, on a stormy night, a fugitive named Carl escapes from prison. He dashes to an abandoned building where he's hidden a briefcase stuffed with $1 million in stolen cash. On this day, Carl arrives at the bank with the loot and meets Biderman, the bank's president. It turns out Biderman was once Carl's money laundering accomplice. Carl demands he clean the $1 million to avoid FBI scrutiny. At first, Biderman refuses to return to illegal dealings, but Carl threatens his family's safety if he doesn't comply. The president relents and is told to hand the money to a man named Juice the next day. Meanwhile, Preston rides his bike to the same bank, hoping to cash his $11 check for the game. However, the kind bank clerk, Shay, gently tells him he needs a minimum of $200. Completely charmed, Preston leaves the bank reluctantly with his check. As soon as he mounts his bike, Butch snatches the check and pedals off. Preston chases after his friend, but falls right behind Carl's car, causing his bike to be crushed while Carl reverses. Obligated to compensate, Carl starts to write a check, but spots a police car nearing the intersection. Panicked, Carl hastily hands an unsigned blank check to Preston and flees the scene. Back home, Preston is grounded for not taking care of his bike. He never tells his parents he got a check from the man who wrecked it. During the day, sitting at his computer, Preston gets another blank check. This time, he's in charge and decides the amount. The boy uses his computer to fill in $1 million and writes a random name on it. The next day, Preston returns to the bank to cash the check. As we saw earlier, Biderman shows suspicion, but recalls being told the previous day that a man named Juice would arrive within 24 hours to collect the money. Now's the time, so Preston successfully cashes it out and becomes a millionaire. But so far, the boy has no idea what's coming for him. One thing he knows for sure, he's going to buy his own home. Now Preston walks out of the bank and bumps into Juice. The man barely notices. Juice enters Biderman's office, claiming he's there to collect $1 million for Carl. In no time, Biderman realizes his error and rushes out to find Preston. But the boy's already gone with the cash. Back home, Preston searches online for houses. After picking his dream home, he calls a real estate agent, disguising his voice with a computer-generated robotic tone and paying $300,000 for the property. Before sealing the deal, the agent asks for Preston's name, which he changes to Macintosh. Preston is thrilled. He's finally rich. On the other hand, Carl learns his money was mistakenly given to a kid and is furious. He blames Biderman, but soon realizes the blank check he gave the boy was the cause. To track down the kid, the three men visit places kids love. Having tasted the thrill of wealth, Preston makes another purchase online, a limousine service, and asks the driver to pick him up. Preston sneaks out of his room using a back ladder and meets the driver, Henry. At first, Henry thinks it's a prank that a kid ordered a limo, but when Preston tosses him a stack of cash, he's stunned and drives Preston wherever he wants. The boy is taken to every mall in town, buying clothes, toys, video games, and more to furnish his new home. On the way back, Preston spots Shay and stops to tell her he'll soon return to the bank to deposit more. After Preston leaves, Shay approaches a car parked nearby. It turns out she's an FBI agent, and Macintosh's case has piqued her interest. The next day, Fred drives to work but is blocked by a line of delivery trucks. Workers are moving goods into a nearby house. Fred gets out to investigate and finds his son Preston directing the workers. Determined to uncover what his son is up to, Fred learns Preston claims he's working for Macintosh. The boy also orders the workers to clear the path for his father, showing his newfound authority. The house is soon fully set up, and Preston and Henry spend the day having fun. Meanwhile, Shay grows more curious about Macintosh as news of this wealthy man moving in spreads through the community. After learning from the real estate agent about his spending habits, she decides to visit Macintosh to investigate his income source. Shay arrives at Macintosh's house but finds Preston there. She asks about this big shot, but Preston claims Macintosh is too busy to meet anyone and quickly shifts the conversation by inviting Shay to a business date. At first, she declines, but when she hears the boy call himself Macintosh's financial manager, she agrees, sensing a lead. Knowing his son works for Macintosh, Fred still forbids Preston from going on a night date for safety reasons. But after hearing a voice say his hard work will connect him to Macintosh if he complies, Fred relents, thrilled that his son's ties to the rich Macintosh could benefit him. From then on, Fred lets the boy do as he pleases. The business date night arrives. At the table, Preston gives Shay a necklace, saying it's from Macintosh. He also asks her personal questions, posing as his boss's mouthpiece. Shay seems to forget her FBI role, and the two enjoy a great time together by the fountain. Not far away, Carl and his two accomplices spot Preston and slowly close in, but the boy notices them approaching and tells Shay to race to the car and drive off. Before parting, Preston tells Shay that Macintosh is hosting a party the upcoming weekend and invites her to attend. Knowing Macintosh will be there, Shay agrees without hesitation. Excited to see Shay again, Preston starts planning the party, even hiring a party planner who charges him $10,000. Preston spends his days hanging out with Henry at the house, but today he visits the playground and sees other kids playing. His face falls as watching them reminds him of his past. Meanwhile, Carl and his two partners drive around the playground, as usual, hoping to find Preston. They hit the jackpot today. Luckily, they spot Preston on his bike nearby. The boy immediately pedals away after seeing them, and the gang misses their chance to catch him again. Carl even thinks stealing another $1 million might be easier. Following this, the group shifts focus. They kidnap Preston's friend Butch, dragging him to the top of a building and threatening to throw him off unless he reveals Preston's real name and address. The party night arrives, and everything seems perfectly set. Before getting out of the car, Shay learns Macintosh has no past records, leading her to deduce he's a criminal hiding his identity. They decide to arrest him later that night. On the other side, the party planner hands Preston the bill, a whopping $100,000. The amount shocks the boy. Checking his computer, Preston discovers he has only $330 left in his balance. Panic sets in as he worries about not being able to pay the planner. Still at the computer, his father arrives and starts talking to the person behind the chair, mistaking him for Macintosh, asking that his son Preston be sent home early because it's his birthday. The father keeps talking, expressing guilt for putting too much pressure on his son and not listening to his needs. Hearing this, Preston realizes how much his father loves him and gets emotional. Then the boy decides to come clean. He ends the party and tells the party planner that Macintosh is missing, so paying her bill is impossible. Preston is next seen sitting alone in the house. Suddenly, the doorbell rings and the boy opens the door. But it's Carl and his two thugs. Preston reveals the truth, but no one believes a little boy could spend $1 million in just 6 days. Completely unhinged, Biderman pulls Carl aside for a private talk, suggesting he take on the Macintosh identity to start the new life he's always wanted. While they're talking, Preston seizes the chance to run, but is soon caught by Carl. Luckily, the FBI and police arrive at the scene, arresting them for fraud, money laundering, and theft. Preston is finally safe and learns more about Fred's love for him. The two hold hands and walk home together. Opening the door, another surprise awaits Preston. His family has been waiting to celebrate his birthday. Thanks for watching. What's your take on the movie?